right, so guys, I wanted to jump on here tonight. Let me see, is Colleen on here? I don't know if Colleen, if you're on here, drop it in the chat box so I know that you're on here, because I know there were a couple people that had questions, which I'm glad Dan the man joined us. This way he can help with questions as well too. So any questions that you guys have, put it in the chat box. This way we can address them. I have my own little thing that I want to go over with you guys, and I have something to give you guys for tonight that's going to help you. And then anything, because we have Colleen and stuff who is new. So she's kind of like learning the ropes. So I told her just to put whatever questions she had in there so we could address them. So, all right, guys. So overcoming obstacles. I'm actually going to let Dan, he didn't know this, but I'm letting him on. I'm going to let Dan, Dan's been in this 5+ years and he's been doing it longer than all of us combined. So I have my own little thing that I put together, but what are some of the biggest obstacles that you feel people face in this industry and being consistent and preserving, and what's the best way to be consistent and continue?
So you want to work reverse instead of what are the obstacles they're getting?
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like a lot of times in this industry, there's always the same obstacles, right?
There
like
are.
everybody
Money,
hits the same.
It's not
for
me. Yeah, it's not for me. I'm not a salesperson, those type things. So, or they have health issues. But the main thing, they're not familiar with the product, so they're going to give you excuses. And I love that because like you, I mean, I'm right on top of them. Is it FDA approved? What vitamins are FDA approved? Tell me, what are you looking for? What's in it? What are you looking for? Or I can get, so how much does it cost? Well, free. You can get it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not for me. So you don't eat food then, right? Your body doesn't need nutrition. So you just look at it like you're a dummy. And you say it that. I mean, that's how I do it.
And I think that comes with having years of confidence in it. But when you're new at it and maybe you don't necessarily have those answers or know those questions, and people are already trying to kind of
give me the reason not to
rag on you. Exactly. And I think that's where, and here's one thing too that I had put in my notes to kind of share tonight, is because I never really realized just how much actual training we have in the back office. Like I've gotten on there and I've gone under like the 200K VIP things and stuff like that, but we literally have a training for everything that you can think of. Any question or topic you might think, there's a video for it. I mean, we have some really awesome training videos. I don't know if you guys know that or not, or if you guys have checked it out. I know some of you guys have, but there's literally so many videos on there for every single thing that you could possibly think of. There's probably a video on there was persevering. There was how do I overcome losing leadership that walked away? How do I sample? How do I follow up? What's the most best follow-ups? And it's all a lot of the videos are all from Thrive Palooza and or team Zooms that happen, and they're all from top leaders. So these are people that have been in it long enough that they have secret sauce to spill, And so if you guys haven't utilized that, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, if you took a couple of days, now I know that sounds like a long time, but if you really wanted all that training and you started from the very first one, on all the training videos, I mean, a couple of days you'll go through, 10, probably 16, 18 hours worth of training videos. It's a lot to take on initially. You'll pick and choose what's going to work best for you.
Well, and I feel too, one of those things is go on there and grab what resonates and speaks to you at the moment. You know what I mean? Whatever it is that you feel like you're struggling with the most, there's probably something on there. Michelle had asked, what about overcoming, getting to people beyond your warm market? Yeah, absolutely. There were things on there about that too. Even ideas about reaching out to people who you already thriving and encouraging them to refer people, offering, 3-day samples for them to get on and get people, asking people, do you want to thrive for free? You know what I mean? And just offering that to people sometimes. And that's one thing that I put together for you guys, which I'll go over at the end, is going back through the people that thrive with you. Because one thing I've noticed, even just being in this business since, when did we start? What was it? March,
I think.
August. So 4 or 5 months. I mean, I've already had people who dropped off and came back on their own. I feel like when you show up consistently, even those ones that were the biggest hypocrites, even if they sampled it and was not really, when they watch you go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, they come back around and they're like, all right, maybe I really didn't give this a fair shot. You know what I mean? Maybe I didn't really let this become what it needed to be, or give it a long enough try. And that was one thing that spoke to me when I was watching some training videos today. Was the girl was like, literally, you have to be so confident in what you're using. And all of us that are here on this call are, because we use it every day of our life. Like I tell people all the time, like I couldn't imagine waking up now and not thriving. Even if at some point I wanted to put the business opportunity to the side, I would still use the product. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And Amen. So at the end of the day, if you're using the product, why not also share it as an opportunity? So that's how I feel about that. But what I kind of just like listened to some of my own training today and took notes to kind of share with you guys. And Dan, feel free to kind of like peg in as we go, But one of the things that really stood out to me, and I had to remind myself again, was like, if you treat this like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. If you treat this like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. And one of the biggest things that like listening to some of the 200K leaders is, even when they were only working it for say an hour or 2 hours within their time frame of their day, they were essentially doing it still like a business. Like they were doing income producing activities. They were doing follow-ups. They were, following up with customers. They were reaching out to new people. They were doing things that were generating things in their business. And the biggest thing about that is just the fact that if you treat it that way, that's also how it's going to pay you. You know what I mean? And I think that's like one of the most biggest important things to remember. I know Dana always says like, you have to treat this like it's going to pay you, or if not, then it is just a hobby. And so I thought, oh, there's Colleen. Awesome. I thought that was something that really helped. Another thing is, like I said to you guys, like everything that you can think of, like every single topic. Let me just mute everything. Hold on, guys. Let me mute this. I have to figure out how to do this on here. Sorry, guys. Just so that this way we don't have any background noise. But that was one of the biggest things to me, was just the simple fact that it was like, if you really want to make this be something that is going to pay you, that is going to always give to you, then you have to treat it as such. And if there's areas that you're weak in, then reach out and get things to make you stronger. The reality is the majority of us all sitting on here, none of us are network marketers, right? Like none of us did this other than Dan. Dan's been around longer than all of us. But none of the rest of us did this. You know what I mean? Like we're not sitting around, this isn't what we were doing. Hold on, guys. I'm still trying to see how I can mute. Do me a favor, guys, everybody that's on here, mute your things just so that there's no background noise. I think almost everybody is muted, but there's somebody.
The only two that was myself and Ninja. So
okay. It's gone now. There was a white noise. It's gone now. So anyway, the long of the short of it is that literally, if there is something that you are weak at or something that you feel that you're not great at, reach out to people who are better at it than you. Like it's okay, India. No worries. I just wanted to get rid of the white noise. It makes me crazy. It's my ADD in me. I'm sorry. But like for me, for example, like that was one of the reasons why like Laura Wells was somebody who I sought out so much, was because she literally generated an income monetizing social media. And for me, with my lifestyle and my life, yes, I can do some events, and yes, those things do produce, things that you need to do. But at the end of the day, I wanted to learn how to monetize off of networks I already had, which is going beyond your warm market, right? Like going on social media and reaching out beyond is going beyond your warm market, because you're now reaching into other people. I have people all the time add me on Instagram, add me on Facebook. I don't know who they are. I had a girl yesterday or 2 days ago. She wrote me and she was like, hey, I just happened to find you and I resonate with you so much and I'm so excited to connect on here. And I'm like, hey, thank God for Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, come on, And so that's the thing, is like, I want to learn how to do those things. Do I know how to do all of them? No, but I'm learning. So it's like, same thing with like, reaching out to people or following up or doing sampling or anything like that. Like we're all learning. So I think that like, you have to give yourself grace. You have to remember that no business builds overnight. And even if it does build overnight, if there's not things in place to keep it, it will fall. I can tell you from being in business for almost 17 years, like you go through ups, you go through downs, you go through ebbs, you go through flows, but it teaches you, you become resilient and you keep going. That was one of the biggest things that like I was listening to one of the 200K leaders from Thrive Palooza in the training office from when we went back in March. And one of the things she said is like, don't allow speed bumps to stop you. Like every person from the top down is going to hit a speed bump. Like somebody leaves, somebody makes fun of you. Somebody, just basically is like, this isn't for me. And they walk out. They don't see the potential of it and they leave, and at the end of the day, those people or the ones that are successful and keep going are the ones that don't allow the speed bumps to take them off of the road. Does it become discouraging sometimes? Yes. Does it become a setback at times? Yes. But at the end of the day, like they just keep going. And so, I always tell people, like, one of the things that you absolutely can guarantee failure is if you quit. If you don't quit, then you can't fail. If you quit, it is 100% guaranteed you're going to fail. This little blurry thing is my husband. Say hello, everybody. So, there was something that she said that really resonated with me. And she said, make a decision today that there is nothing that can happen to you in your life. Thank you, babe. That can happen to you there's thirst with caffeine, in your life that is going to stop you from where you're going. Make an active decision that literally everything that you can do, you're going to go all in because it's for yourself. Babe, you're going to get kicked out of this meeting. Go over there. Goodbye. Can't do anything. Like, can't even be serious if you wanted to. He's the comedic relief.
It's still cute.
But yeah, so that's the thing about it. And it was one of those things where she was like, literally, like, despite who comes and despite who goes, like, you have to go all in it for yourself. Like, you can have people who leave, but you have to make up in your mind that no matter what, you're not going to quit on you. You're not going to quit on where you're going. And one of the most amazing things about this business, like Dana Chuva has always said, is that it gives you opportunity. It gives you options. Like, you can build this as a side hustle that could eventually become a full hustle with something that you can do anywhere. And I think that was one of the things that resonated with me so much about Laura Wells, was because, like, literally they live in an Airstream, they travel the United States, and she's able to pay and retire her husband from corporate America, herself from corporate America, off of just Lavelle. So the fact that the potential is there to build it as much or as little as you want is there, so it's just a sense of honing in skill sets to get there. And, one of the things that she said was that it's not that you won't get where you're going, because if you refuse to quit and you refuse to give up on yourself, you will get there. But it's about learning the resilience to keep going, like learning how to let those setbacks become character. Because in reality, anything in life that's worthwhile is going to have setbacks. And if you don't learn how to navigate them and keep going, it becomes a setback and you don't build character. Like, if every time you come up against something hard and you quit, you're never going to get anywhere. Because everything that is worthwhile is hard, and that's in life in general. And the thing with persevering and going on is that a lot of times you feel like you're not winning. You feel like you're not growing. You feel like you're getting thrown a curveball left and right. You know what I mean? Like, you literally feel like this is just never going to be for me. This is just never going to work. And if you're not careful, like, that negative mindset will put you in the headspace where you literally are setting yourself up to fail. Because the reality of it is that whatever you believe and you think in your mind, you start to say with your mouth, and your mind believes 100% of what you say. Whatever you say, good, bad, or indifferent, is what is going to become produced. So it's like, you have to check yourself. Like, if if you're like, well, this just isn't for me and I just can't do this, and nobody else, like, whatever excuse you have, like, if those are the things that you keep your mind on, that's where you're going to stay. And that's in anything. It could be in this business. It's in life in general. Like, you have to just make up your mind and say, come hell or high water, if it takes me 6 months or 6 years, whatever it takes me, I'm going to keep going. And that's where perseverance and character comes in. I tell people a lot of times, like, I dropped my thing. I actually said this morning on my stories. I said, a lot of times I feel like God will make you go through hard things and not elevate you, because even if you got to the elevated place, if your character can't keep you, you're going to lose it. Like, you'll get there and then you'll lose it because you don't have what you need to sustain where you are. Like, everything happens as it's supposed to. So those are just like a couple of things that literally stood out to me. And, every single 200K leader literally said, like, we all got to the place where we wanted to quit. We didn't think we were going to make it. We didn't think it was for us. You know what I mean? And yet, like, they would see people like Dana Chuva or like Danny Angelo or like Brittany Walker, or, we can name tons of leaders in our business, and they would see them and they would say, okay, well, if they did it, and they figured it out, I can figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I can keep doing it. And I think that's one of the biggest things is like just reminding yourself that as you're on that slope to just keep tracking. Like sometimes, and I always relate things to life that I feel are like relatable. It's like the gym, right? Some days you get up and you show up and you're like a beast, like you are ready to kill it. Other days you show up and you're like, I'm lifting this weight and I'm putting it down after 2 reps and I don't care. And it might take you 15 minutes to get through a set that usually takes you 5. But at the end of the day, as long as you showed up and you completed the rep, who cares how long it took?
Exactly.
You're still building strength. You're still building resilience. You're still building character. You're still building what you need. And I think business is no different. You're going to have times where you're going to skyrocket and you're going to soar and you're going to be like, this is amazing and I'm never going to stop. And then you're going to have months where everybody walks out. I could tell you, like in my first business, I can't tell you how many times, like literally I had people walk out and it was just me and my assistant working in my business, you know? And what if I would have quit right then? What if I literally would have been like, well, maybe being a business owner isn't for me. Maybe being a hairdresser isn't for me. Maybe this isn't for me. No, I was just like, okay, that didn't work. So plan B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and C, if we need to, like, we're going to do whatever it is we got to do. And we're going to learn another way to do it. You know, like I tell people, like the most successful people and the most inspirational people are the people who had to go outside of the box to figure it out. It wasn't handed to them like, here you go. And I'm going to tell you the truth, most people who get handed things ruin them because they didn't have to work for them. The people who are the most successful are the ones who had to work. They're the ones who had to get up every day, show up, be consistent. And, you know, like I said on my story today, I'm like, everything in life is figure outable if you show up. If you stop showing up, it is guaranteed to fail.
Figure outable.
Figure outable. Everything is figure outable.
Well, you're exactly right on that, Bernadette. I mean, Michelle, you're right there. She was just talking about the gym, and you're training for something, and if you wake up and just show up and do something, that's better than not doing anything at all.
The worst. There's a sign in Mikey's bathroom, and I look at it every time I go to pee because you know you do that a lot in the gym, drinking the water out there in the heat, and it says the only bad workout is the one that didn't happen.
Right. So, and I've been through that. I've the last couple of months, as you know, I've been like super busy, just like enjoying life. Because you know the transition I went through, then I moved, and just things that came up, and I'm really loving life. And I've put a few things on the wayside. I always talk about it. I always have my samples. I mean, on my cruise and in Vegas, and you know, just everything in between. I have my samples. So. Absolutely. Being consistent, just showing that. I mean, I was still taking care of a couple of my other businesses that I have, and checking on one of the accounts, and the main thing really, I was just changing my address. No big deal. It's from one place to the other. And I had my DFT on, and the assistant manager at Bank of America, she says, "Where did you get that? That's Thrive, right?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "I used to do Thrive."
Oh.
And I said, "Well, what happened?" She goes, "I don't know." So you were talking earlier about being consistent, showing up, just even displaying it is you're still showing up in a way, manner speaking. If you're doing it out loud, like I do, like you know, all of us should be doing. So if you're doing it out loud, then they're going to ask, and she says, "I don't know why. I loved it, and how do I get it?" Okay. Gave her a card, boom, signed up.
She felt and it's funny that you say that, Dan, because literally that's what I started this with is like the same people who I sampled and they were like,
right, exactly.
Like months later, they're the ones pursuing me like, hey, that Thrive thing that I keep seeing. Because the reality of it is, like Colleen said, consistency is key. Colleen actually became a promoter because she's been watching me, because I consistently, even at times if I'm not showing up, like say for example on Zooms like this, which I promise guys I'm going to work to be more consistent. Life happens to all of us. None of us are perfect all of the time, but we all try our best. But the thing about it is like, but I consistently showed up every day to show that I was thriving. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the biggest things when people are like, well, what do you post on social media and what do? You show people what it's doing. You know, like I show people like me get like, okay, Michelle will laugh because she's my aunt. She's been in my life since I was a kid. And like the standing joke was, if you saw somebody before 9 a.m. and it looked like me, it was a clone, kill it. It wasn't me. Because like getting up out of bed in the morning was the hardest thing in the world for me to to do. And like now I like pop my capsules. Yeah, 100%. She knows, she'll tell you. She'd be like, get up. And like I took Thrive and I was like, oh, good morning. Hello. How are you? How is everybody? What are we doing today? Do you want to come to the gym? Let's go to the gym. Come on. Like, and Michelle was like, clearly this must work. The fact that she's on here, like literally dressed, not half naked, like doing a video and it's before 10 a.m. Like that's a miracle in itself. Yep, she'll tell you. So, and it's like, so at the end of the day, it's like, sometimes it's stopping long enough. Like, you know, we think like sometimes things that you do are mundane to you because it's your everyday. But the same person on the other side of the screen might very well be getting up in the morning for the third week in a row starting school, and they literally can't get up and get their kid out of bed. And so this is something like they're waking up. Hey, Colleen, will you mute your thing? I'm sorry, I can't figure out how to mute everybody on here. It won't let me. But I don't, when I was on my other one, like it used to let me just mute all, and on here it doesn't let me do it. I know, I have to figure out how to do this on the
But
thing.
Colleen, I think you did on purpose. You wanted to unmute yourself, correct? Colleen?
I'm here.
Oh, were you unmuting yourself on purpose?
No, it was accidental. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, so that was the whole thing, is that like, you don't know. And I think Emily Foster was actually the one that I listened to this, and it made me think about it, because like things that become mundane and regular to us are not for everybody. Like that mom could literally be depressed because she's so exhausted. She cannot get up and function in the morning, and she's feeling like the most miserable and most failure of a mom ever. And then she gets on Thrive and she's able to get up and do what she has to do in a great mood. Like for some people, that's the game changer that changes the trajectory of their life. You know, I was looking at today, they were sharing on the, Danny and all of them and Dana were sharing about how like that one reach out from Jason to
Jason and Paul.
Paul to Jason.
Yeah.
That one reach out is why we're all sitting here right now. Like that one thing. And so it's like, you know, sometimes you don't realize, and Dan, I always say this because you're a perfect example. Like sampling one person created our entire team. Like one person, like, hey, try this stuff. Like, and that's the thing, is like, you just never know who that joker is. You never know when they're going to come. But here's the deal. If you live in the mindset of scarcity and poverty and all is bad, and I call it the Chicken Little mindset, the sky is falling, the whole world is ending, and I'm getting hit in the head with the acorn. You know what I mean? Like, if you live in that mindset, you're never, like, you're going to literally miss opportunities in your face. You know what I mean? Like that one person, like imagine that day, Dan, if you just would have walked by and just said, no, not today.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to. Because
there's no way someone else that I think that's in Lavelle that would have approached Sarah or Mikey.
And Dan, how many times have you seen them before? Like, I want to touch on
this. years.
How many times?
Years. I've known Sarah, for 6 years.
That was one of the things that I wrote on here, is that literally it takes 5 to 10 reach outs to get a yes 80% of the time. That means literally for you to have 80% chance of getting a yes, it takes 5 to 8 reach outs, right? I'm sure Dan had seen them before. I'm sure they'd seen the stuff. I'm sure Dan had, like, you know, sprinkled it in. But the point of it is that when the time was right, when it was right, I call it ripe for the picking, it happened as it was supposed to. But what if Dan would have quit? What if Dan would have just been like, oh, well, I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to share it. I'm not going to, like, that's what I'm saying. And it became such, and if I'm not mistaken, Sarah and Mikey were like the biggest skeptics, weren't they? They wanted nothing to do with it.
Big time. Yeah, Mikey only did it because Sarah says Dan is my friend, and I told him I'd try it. We'd try it.
So what if you wouldn't have built that rapport? What if you wouldn't have built that networking? What if you wouldn't have built, and listen, was that friendship based on Thrive? No,
it's arm wrestling.
It was a common interest of arm wrestling. But the day came when he was like, hey, try these things. I have to call to do. Okay, no worries. I love you all, Michelle. I'm recording it so you can watch it later. But that's just the point of it, is that, you know, don't count anybody out. You know what I mean? And even if you've seen them 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, they've asked you about that patch, you know, they've been like, whatever. the time is going to come, because I always say it's just a matter of time, when they decide now is the time. You know what I mean? And at that point, you never know. Like, one of the biggest things, and I did this in one of our last Zoom calls, was with the cards, flipping the cards. Out of a deck of 52 cards, you only have 2 jokers. But one joker can change the trajectory of your business. One person who lights an entire town on fire. One person. But if you're not in the game to keep flipping the cards, you will never get to the joker. Now, life happens to all of us. So do you show up 100% all of the time? No, but don't quit. Does every person turn around and say, I don't want to do it? Okay, whatever, on to the next. Like, that literally has to be your mindset, because at the end of the day, like, it literally is a numbers game. It is, okay, you don't want it, on to the next. Okay, and here's another thing too, guys. 90% of the time, whatever reason they give you is really not the reason, okay? They might tell you it don't work. Like Tina, I'm thinking of example. She had a lady who gave us 50 reasons from Sunday why this was not for her. And now, not only is she thriving, but she's thinking about promoting. And she gave us 20 reasons why it wasn't for her. It didn't work. This was not the right stuff for her. She doesn't know why anybody would do this, yada, 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 yada. And it was discouraging for Tina and myself, you know, because I was like, you know, I had pulled out all the stops that I knew how to say and do. And at the end of the day, she just wasn't interested. And I'm like, okay, well, Tina, you got to let people where they are, bless and release, and be on your way. What else are you going to, like, you're not going to hound people. You don't have to hound people for something that works. You know what I mean? Like, I tell people, look, you get it in your system for 30 days, and I promise you, you'll be thriving the rest of your life so long as you can afford it, or you get 2 people to pay for it. Like, because at the end of the day, like, we all know this, being promoters, it really is that beneficial. It really works that much, you know? But now, what if Tina would have been like, everybody hates it, nobody wants it, the whole world is against it, the sky is falling, the acorns are coming, you know what I mean? Like, you have to push past it, and we all go through it. Like, some of us sooner than others, some of us more than others, but at the end of the day, let it teach you something, move on. Let it teach you something, move on. Let it teach you something,
yeah, don't take it personal.
Yeah, don't take it personal. You know, and that's funny that you say that, Dan, because like, that's literally something that I wrote. Like, you have to learn not to take things personal. Like, the reason that they're probably giving you probably isn't the reason. Like, if somebody is going at literally the brink of a divorce with somebody, and they're terribly fearful of if they're going to be able to pay their bills if they walk out, they're not going to tell you that. If somebody literally has a drug addict child who drained their bank account, they're not going to tell you that. You know what I mean? If somebody has, whatever the reason is, there's seasons come and they go in life. But when the season changes, and this was something that I wrote down that I want to share with you guys, when the season changes and they decide to come back to that product, or they decide to try it again, when the time comes back around, promoters too, like, this can go on customer side or promoter side. Like, who are they going to show up and do business with? Right? The person who randomly shows up whenever it's like, you know, whenever they want to, or the person who consistently shows up and consistently shows what it does and consistently shows, even if it's just every day, showing that you're thriving, showing that I woke up this morning and I'm at the gym. I got up this morning, my kids are on time. I got up today, I'm in a great mood. I'm not waking up groggy, tired, irritable, biting off my spouse's head, biting off my kid's head. Like, for some people, it's that much of a change in them. But how does anybody know if you don't tell them? And telling somebody one time doesn't mean anything. Most people aren't even listening the first time you tell them. Tell them again. Tell them again. Make another post with another picture and word it a different way. Tell them again. Because, you know, the bottom line is that they're looking to see if it is legit. Like, they're looking to see, is this legit? Is she going to, like, okay, I'll give you guys an example. I had a client come back to me that I haven't seen in a while. She had life happen. It happens in every business. Okay, guys. And when she came back, before she even came that day, she wrote on my post, I keep seeing you, you know, post about this stuff. And I'm not somebody who typically does an MLM thing, but I know you. And I know that if you're doing it and you say it's legit, it must be legit. And that's the point of it, of social media, guys, is that at the end of the day, you want people to come into your space, learn who you are, you know what I mean? Invite them in, show that you're a trustworthy person, show that you're somebody that they can relate to. And for everybody has different things. Dan is arm wrestling. Tina loves to cook. Colleen is another hairdresser. India has cleaning and multiple other businesses. Like everybody has something, whatever that thing is, it doesn't matter. But you have people who relate and come to you for those things. So at the end of the day, show that. But they're going to say, you know what, because I know who you are, I trust you. And that's what it was with this girl. She was like, as soon as she came in, she's like, all right, I have to know what this Thrive thing is. I keep seeing it consistently. You keep talking about it. And I know, and I'm like, girl, I'm not somebody who would typically post network marketing stuff. I'm like, but this stuff is legit. And she's like, all right, because I know you, I'm going to try it. And that's what it is. On social media, the one thing I've been doing, like some classes from Laura Wells, just on, learning how to network on social media. And one of the things that she says is, you cannot look at social media like I'm going to post this bottle and you're going to come buy it. That's not how it works. It's network marketing for a reason. What it is you invite people into your space to get to know who you are and to know who you are as a person, and they relate to you. But I always think of like Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian sells many things, but people don't go on there for what Kim Kardashian is selling. They go on there for Kim Kardashian. You are your brand. Who you are, the things you do, how you live your life, I call it your vibe tribe. What you're about is what people flock to you for. And for everybody, it's something different. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is the thing that I'm monetizing. This is the thing that I'm showing you guys, along with what I do, because this is the thing that makes my life be what I want it to be. This is what helps me get where I'm going. And at the end of the day, like I say to people all the time, like, how many people do you know that could benefit from Thrive? How many people do you know that are tired, that are irritable, that their diet sucks, they're exhausted, they can't get out of bed in the morning, they're depressed, their stomach hurts, their body hurts? I mean, you could probably make a list just off of that alone. Reach out to those people. You know what I mean? Share what it is that it has changed for you. Like when I shared it with Mimi was literally like, where has this been all my life? Mimi was like, where has this been? Like, I have been looking for something like this forever. And even Mia, her daughter, was like, literally, my mom used to be so tired because she would just be running and doing constantly. And she was like, and now all of a sudden she's got like a pep in her step and she's in a great mood. And that was the thing. It's like, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that this could make a difference. And so I was like, you have to try this. Like, that's the confidence. Like, you're going to try this. You can say no until you don't like it, but at least give me the benefit of the doubt and try it. Okay? Just try it. Like, you can't give me a review. You can't tell me about nothing unless you put it in your body. Did you put it in your body? No? Then you can't have it. You can't have an opinion. Period. So anyway, anything you want to add to that, Dan? Because you know me, I'll go on for spieling.
No, you're doing fabulous. You're touching on just very, very simple things. Being consistent, showing people what it's doing. Don't take it personally. I've been at this, coming up on 6 years in officially October is when my ex-wife signed me up, but I didn't start the product or know anything about it until the next month.
Do me a favor, because Colleen's new and there might be some other people. Share briefly, like, because you were a bit skeptic. Yeah, okay. And you were like the one that was going to prove everybody wrong. I love your story. Tell that story.
So I used to be in fitness for a long time. I competed in it, but I've been in the gym for 30 years. So I always took my multivitamins, and this not just multivitamins, but 55 pills a day, morning till night. I knew what I was doing. I have all sorts of records. I thought I was the expert at my own nutrition. So my ex-wife, who knew Brittany, she had bought the product. It made a difference for her. She stopped drinking coffee, and she insisted that I take it. And I said, no, I'm not going to take it. And she said, yes, you are. And I said, no, I'm not. So she literally took the capsules when we woke up, and I was pinned up against the wall with the capsules to my lip like a kid. No, no, no. And
open your mouth.
So I said, fine. I'm going to prove you wrong. So I took the capsules, and then I hopped in the shower. When I got out of the shower, she already had the DFT, and she had the shake in her hand here. So she was forcing me here, just making sure I did it. So that was a Monday morning. And then Wednesday, I used to drink Monsters. In the afternoon on Wednesday, I didn't have one. And then Wednesday evening, we're at the dinner table, and I said, I have to tell you, you're right. I'm wrong and I feel a difference. And she
You
goes,
know
I
what? That
know.
itself is very, very impressive. A man admitting he's wrong. I think
Listen,
that's
I
fantastic.
will. It's not often that it happens, but I will. When proven wrong, I need
When proven
evidence.
wrong. That's the
That's
point.
right. So she says, I know it's working because you're not about to fall asleep at the dinner table.
Ah,
And so, yeah, I continued on. And by Friday, I had 6 people. We had morning meetings, and 6 people that day signed up. They said, we see a difference in you. You're more pep in your step, and you're
yep,
just more talkative and happy. And I'm already a happy go lucky guy. And
yeah.
for them to notice it, I didn't notice it. They noticed it.
Ah,
So yeah, and that's how my business started. I mean, some of those one of them still a promoter, two are still customers from that long ago.
that's
Still.
awesome.
And
Well, because
they
it goes to show you that when you have people that see the value, they stick to it,
yeah,
you know? And
it doesn't even matter.
and I tell people too, sometimes people get hung up on the money, but I'm here to tell you guys, like, at the end of the day, I was the person that I would have paid for this hand over fist every month without asking a question.
Yes.
There are people out there, like, don't put yourself into this scarcity mindset of nobody has money and nobody wants to pay for it. Of course, dumb. There are people like myself who I would have happily paid for this. Like that, your story, I think resonates with me so much because my husband was the same way. Like everybody knows that started watching me back then. Like I had pastime because my husband was so fucking stinky in the morning. He was like, I would get up and be like, "Good morning, babe. Let's go." And he'd be like, "Why are you yelling?" It is literally still, and I would be like, "Get up, it's past time." And then it got to be where he was noticing such a great feeling about it. He started doing it continually on his own. Like he was actually the one who got me on it because I was the skeptic. Like he was like, "Oh, Mikey's selling these vitamins." I'm like, Mikey fucking sells everything. Like, what difference is it with this? Like, so I'm like, and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna get some." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you get some, but I'm not doing it." Well, he went and he brought me the sample. He brought it to me. We did it. It was like a 3-day sample. We did it. And I was like, I don't know if we've been on this long enough. Let's go on it a little bit longer. Because I'm here to tell you guys, especially if people start with Elite, there's always a little bit of a detox. And the worse your diet, the more of a detox there is. Like, and it can last for up to a week. Like I'm talking like stomach pain, not feeling great, feeling like the opposite of thriving sometimes can happen. And so like I have in our training group, I have that one that gives day 1, day 2, day 3, and then day 5 through 6, because most people sample for 6 days, and it tells them what to expect so that it's not a shock. You know what I mean? Like this could happen, it's potential, but this is the reason why. And so the whole thing of it is that like I was like, okay, well, I don't know if like 3 days was enough, so let's do 3 more. But like when I hit like the day 6 to 8 mark, I was like, oh my God, where was this all my life? You know what I mean? Like, and I would have happily paid for it. But at the end of the day, like I had saw how well Mikey was doing and I saw how everything else was doing. And I was like, dude, I'm not going to let other people get to my network. Like I'm going to get to my network before they get to my network because I know who's in my network, And so that's where all that started. Yeah. See, Colleen said her mood has been fantastic. I'm telling you, like, that's probably one of the biggest things for me. And I tell people that all the time, hand over fist, is like the mental clarity for me was where it was. By day 10, it was like all of a sudden, it was like somebody flipped the brains on in my, the lights on in my brain. And I had like clear mind. And like, I remember describing it to somebody, like, I'm like, do you remember when you were like 20, like before kids and all of BS, and you just like can dream because you're like so mentally clear and you're just like, I could do anything. And, like, I equate it to like the Disney world, where everything is just magical and butterflies, and it's like all of a sudden it was like I just had this like clarity of mind that I hadn't had in like a really long time. And I was like, I feel freaking amazing. Like, where is this? Like, and then wait, it gets better. Then on top of it too, I had clients who were like, oh yeah, I've been thriving for years. Well, you selfish jokers, why didn't you tell me? Like, and they had been like, they were customers, they weren't promoters. But my one client, when I told her about it, because I told everybody about it, like she was like, oh, I've been thriving for years. I'm like, well, thanks for sharing. Like selfish. But that's what I mean. So like, you never know, guys, whose life it's going to change. So like, don't assume, and don't take it personal if they don't say yes yet. just don't do it, you know? And at the end of the day, show up consistently, show what it's doing for you. Like here's a really good thing. And then I'm going to finish with this because I'm not gonna keep you guys on super long tonight. But what I want you to do, and I'm going to challenge you guys, is to sit down and literally write a list of why you thrive every morning. Why do you yourself, outside of the business, thrive every morning? What is it that it does for you? And like actively think about it, because from that list, you'll probably have a month's worth of content if you literally individualize, like, I sleep better. And then like I always tell people, make like bubbles. Like, remember when you were in school and you make bubbles and then you make bubbles off of the bubbles? Like, sleep better, for example. Like, I don't wake up in the middle of the night. I don't have cramps in the middle of the night. I don't have heat, you know, menopause things in the middle of the night. You know, I don't wake up with pains in the middle of the night. I wake up in the morning, I don't have aches in the morning. Like, why do you take Thrive every day? Because what it does for you might be the very life-changing thing that it does for somebody else, grows your business and changes their life. Like, because yes.
So as you're talking about that, just keep in mind of certain things that you can and cannot say.
Yes, compliance. Yeah. So with compliance, like basically you don't want to make it sound or look like it cures anything. That's the best way to do it. Like if you're going to say, for example, for me, it did really help my depression, but I can't say it cured my depression, but I can say it literally gave me a better mood. Like, what is the opposite of depression? A good mood. You know, so like just think about that, guys. And if you're new and you're worried about that, there's literally videos in the back office on compliance that you
actually get 25 in credits.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get credits for completing them. So go on there and check it out. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is like literally write down what it does for you and don't take for granted because you feel great. Like remember where you were when you started. You know, remember why you started, remember why you continued, remember why you said yes. Like that's one thing that if you want to get over the ebbs and flows and the humps of hard times and difficulties, you have to remember your why. Why are you doing it? And from that, share with people. Like I tell people, tell, don't sell. That is the biggest, like if I can keep it short, simple, and stupid, tell, don't sell. Like a product that works sells itself, tell them what it's doing for you consistently. And see if you don't have people asking about it. You know what I mean? Wear your patch every day. Show that you take your capsules every morning. Show that you make your shake. Tell them why you enjoy it. Tell them how it makes you feel. Like, and don't think because you did it one time that, oh, they don't want to hear it anymore. No, people have to, like the basic form of learning or marketing in general is repetition. How many times do we see McDonald's commercials and everybody knows what McDonald's is, but does McDonald's stop making marketing commercials and things? No, you see it constantly. Same thing, guys. Show what it does consistently. And at the end of the day, if they were to tell you how it blocks your arteries, they probably wouldn't have as many sales, but they don't do that, do they? But anyway, make that list. Here's another thing too that I wanted to share. I literally today sat and created this document for you guys because I have not found one that did this. So I did it my dang self and I called Mimi. I was like, I can't figure out how to get this to print correctly. And then she helped me fix it. Thank God. Thank God for Mimi.
She's great.
So,
Mimi's great.
Mimi is great. Like I told her, she was like, you're the bomb. I'm like, no, you're the bomb because you just saved my behind. But I'm going to put this in the group. Basically what this is this is a list. And sorry guys, because I have like my thingy on, but basically what it is it's a list for you guys to do monthly. And this is something that if you will listen, discipline is the secret sauce to success. Discipline yourself every month to fill this out. Okay. And go back to it, because here's the thing. Like I've done this on my own and I was like, I need to create something to give to people where they can do it. Cause I just did it in a notepad, but this is like simplifies it for you guys. But basically I went back to my list when I first started sampling. I always made a list of every person who sampled and I kept them. And when months went by and I needed people that maybe sampled but never ordered, I went back to it. And I was like, hey, I have, and as you guys go, you'll have credits every month. I'm like, I have $50 plus the $20 coupon, $70 off for this month. Like, would you be interested in finally thriving? You know what I mean? Like, are you ready to thrive with me? And literally I've gotten sales from that. And it was as simple as going back to a list that I had written down and going, oh yeah, I forgot about that person. Oh yeah, I forgot about that person. Oh, I forgot about that person. Like I never even said anything to them. And sometimes, just like we saw with Jason and Paul, it's one reach out. One. literally one. But I'm sure that there were probably many other reach outs before that collaboration came to be, you know? But on this, basically at the very top, it's just a month and year. So you just write the month in and there's just 4 columns. So the first column is your auto ships and like what those people are spending in a month. So like, for example, if they're an elite customer, let's just use Colleen for an example. Colleen is one of my customers. She's spending $180 a month on elite. That's what her sale totals are, right? So it's going to give you a running number as well too to keep track of your sales. The second one are people who stop auto ship or they never ordered, okay? And if you'll fill this out every month, you will have a running track record of lists to always reach back out to, probably people you forgot about, that life and seasons change and now all of a sudden they're ready to say yes. You reach out to them and they're like, yeah, you know what? I will. Why not? Like, I've been watching you and now's the time. Like, sometimes it's just as little as that. The fourth one is literally people that are sampling or people that have inquired about it. You know, maybe they, like, I have people all the time on social media or even in person that will say, hey, what's that Thrive stuff? And they might not say yes or ask right then and there, but that doesn't mean in months later they won't. That doesn't mean 2 months from now when I reach out to them and I'm like, hey, I'm picking 2 special people this month to give $50 off. Like, you ready to thrive? You never know where the yes is going to come from. But if you have a list, it lets you keep track, you know? And then the last one are the people that you actually did reach out to so that you can keep a running tally of that. And then the following month, you're going to move everybody to whatever column they need to be, whoever's auto ship, whoever's whatever, but it gives you a running thing. Like, I did that literally in a notebook. Like, every month I just kept track of who created a free account, you know, who was sampling with me, what they were sampling on, yada, yada, yada. And that was what let me do effective follow-ups with people. You know what I mean? And you can even go as far as if you want to put notes next to it. Like, you know, for example, she needs vegan, not regular. She's lactose. You know what I mean? Like, customer service is the thing that makes the difference between somebody like liking something and loving something. Sometimes people like things just because of the customer service. Like, they just like the fact that like you care so much just to ask. And sometimes they'll go do business. You're not the only person who sells Thrive. They'll go to the business with somebody else just because of the fact that they'll keep up with them. They'll reach out to them and ask how they're feeling. They'll, you know, offer them things that maybe you didn't think about. Like, there's always things that can better customer service, but it all starts with some kind of system to put into place to follow up. Because if you don't have a system, chances are things are just going to fall to the wayside. We're human.
That's great, Bernadette. That's great
So,
that I put something like that together.
I created it just for you guys, and I'm literally going to put it in the group. So all you have to do is click on it and print it. That's it. And if anybody is an Excel guru and you can make this pretty, you let me know, because I couldn't. I was just happy to get it together. So anyway, any questions? Let me go into the chat real quick before I shut this down, guys. Sorry, I went a little longer than I planned to tonight, but we haven't chatted in a really long time. And I just really wanted to like encourage you guys. I wanted to uplift you guys. I wanted to like, you know, get into the grit and grire with you guys and let you know that we all have life that happens. Colleen says, hell yeah, my menopause symptoms have decreased. I keep telling you, go on HDS. Go on HDS. You will thank me. But yeah, anybody have any questions or any, Colleen, was there anything that, because I know that you had a few questions, was there anything that I need to touch on for you that you wanted to know? No?
Oh, I'll unmute for a moment.
Oh, it's okay.
No, not at the moment. You're actually very informative tonight. It's been great. It just reminded me I have to touch base with my girlfriend who's interested. So I'm gonna go off and do that.
Make a list. Follow up is fortune, girls. I like little sayings because they remind you, like, your fortune is in the follow up. Like, at the end of the day, if you follow up, that's where your fortune lies. Following up with promoters, following up with customers, following up in general. Like, it's true. And the truth of the matter is if you don't put little systems in place, you know, even as easy as showing up every Monday and just getting on here and showing off your face or whatever it is, like, if you don't put things in place, things fall to the wayside because we're human. You know, so this is why I created this, because this is something very simple. It does not take a lot of time, but if you will work it, it will work for you. It has worked for me. Like, I literally am like, I need 2 customers this month to get my airfare paid for Vegas. So I'm like going through every list that I have. I'm like, oh, I don't care if I have to give all of my credits away this month. 2 people are buying. So anybody have any questions or anything that they want to add or anything before I get off of here? Sorry.
Great job, Bernadette. Great job.
I try. You know me. Crazy me. All right, guys. So I guess not. So I have this recorded, so I'm going to upload it to my YouTube. I'll share it. Thanks, India. I'll share it on to my YouTube so you guys can watch it. And next week, oh, before I get off, tomorrow, this is important. Everybody mark it in your calendar. We all have smartphones. Tomorrow is the corporate Zoom call with Paul and Jason. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be really good. And then right after that, we have a follow-up. I think Dana's doing it to talk about what they're going to cover. I'll share it in the group. I have a thing for it that shows both of those. So I'll share that. I feel like there was something else I was going to tell you guys too. Maybe that's it. I know I was like, I'm going to tell him about that call. That call is important. Like, I'm excited about that call because Paul hasn't been around for a little bit. So
no, he has not.
And he's like the motivator. Like Paul, like I finally found him on Facebook, and Paul is the one that like thinks like I think. And I was like, oh, I like this.
Oh yeah, Paul was one that he comes to Florida a lot. And matter of fact, at Danny's several years ago, he just showed up. There's like only 20 of us in there. She was having a little get together in the clubhouse there. It's pretty. I mean, it's cool. So he comes to little things like that, especially here in Florida.
That's awesome.
Because he has residence here.
That's right, he does. So I'm really excited, guys. So jump onto that. And don't forget, guys, listen, don't forget, pick literally, even if it's one a day. Most of these videos are only 3 to 5 minutes long. They're not long. Listen to them on the way to work, okay? Listen to them while you're in the shower. Listen to them while you're in the gym instead of listening to, I don't know, whatever. But those videos in the back office, literally, if you go under back office and you go under resources and you go to online training, there is a slew, literally, from hitting bonuses to how to get 4K and 12K, how to maintain, how to grow promoters, how to sample effectively. There are 1,000 different things. And listen, you never know, like everybody's going to do something different. So whatever resonates with you. And listen, if you find something that you feel like really works, share with us. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always willing to learn and grow. Like, I'm like, okay, if you were effective and this worked for you, like, I'm willing to hear what you did to consider that, you know, because you never know. And sometimes it's really just seeing people who, you know, like Q and her husband, who literally like got excommunicated on accident and like didn't get paid for 8 months and were like kicked out of the thing, but like came back and like are both 200K leaders and killing it. So like sometimes it's just a reminder that we're all human, and as long as you love and have a passion for something, and really like people over profits, guys, like if you make people and helping people your main prerogative, everything you need will always be there. Like, what is that thing by Zig Ziglar? I think it's like, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll always have what you want. And that is the truth. Like, people over profits, and literally reach out to the people that this can help. Share why it helps. Share why it helps in your stories. Share on your posts. Share. Like, just tell your stories, guys. Okay? Okay.
Thank you again, Bernadette.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you for jumping on, and we'll do this again next Monday. I was going to remember what day. Next Monday. So I hope everybody has a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.